Denver 7, storm aftermath. Power still out for thousands tonight as we clean up the mess from a spring snowstorm.
I think if it goes longer, of course, we'll be pretty concerned about it.
While the worst is behind us, when freezing temperatures hit overnight, many won't have electricity to stay warm.
When I couldn't pay my bills or put gas in my vehicle to even come to work, I just couldn't do it anymore.
Plus, a group of workers speaking out after their bosses promised paychecks that never came. A message they're hoping to send their former employer.
It takes a village to raise a family. At a time of major shortages, how Coloradans came together to make sure families have what they need to keep their kids healthy.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Allen.
And I'm Brian Wang. The snow came and went, but not without leaving some major damage behind first. We're still under a weather action day until tomorrow morning.
And right now, tens of thousands of homes are still without power tonight, almost 24 hours after the storm rolled through, taking out trees and power lines. Actually, at last check, we just checked, 13,000 customers are still waiting for power to be restored. Xcel Energy sent out a statement saying more than 1,200 people are working on these outages right now, prioritizing repairs based on public safety and which work will restore the power to the largest number of customers the fastest. You can report an outage online at xcelenergy.com/out or text out to 98936.
All right, without further ado, meteorologist Stacey Donaldson joins us now. Stacey, the weather has just been all over the place.
Right, and with this heavy wet snow, so many broken branches all across the Front Range, and some of the Front Range totals were very impressive. 14.5 inches at Castle Rock, 8.5 for Highlands Ranch, and about 7 in Lakewood. Coming up in a bit, I'll let you know how the highest totals shaped up across Colorado. It is very impressive. Temperatures tonight will be right around 30 degrees, and it looks like this could be a record for an overnight low tonight. So we do have freeze warnings in effect for the Front Range and the Eastern Plains, a frost advisory farther to the east. We also have winter weather advisories in effect from Salida down toward Alamosa until midnight. Here for the Denver area, freeze warning in effect until tomorrow morning. So cover any plants again tonight or bring them inside. Keep them safe from the cold air. Also that frost advisory for the Eastern Plains. We still have some snow down to the south and up in the higher elevations. We're still seeing some flakes in places. Otherwise, it's very quiet here for the Denver area. We'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies overnight, and it will be a chilly night for us. That snow still falling down toward Colorado City and Canyon City up toward Silver Cliff. But tonight we have that freeze warning in effect with our overnight low around 30 degrees. We'll talk more about what we can expect for the rest of the weekend coming up in a few minutes.
All right, that's the sound heard around the metro. The heavy wet snow knocked down trees and power lines, creating a giant mess for neighborhoods to clean up. Crews worked throughout the day to remove fallen tree limbs. Chris Ortel woke up to find both of his cars damaged by a branch that fell from this old cottonwood near Adams Street and Vassar Avenue.
Well, about 5:30 I heard a loud crack. Luckily no one was hurt, but looks like a good chunk of damage on 2 cars.
Too bad, so sad. A spokesperson with Denver Parks and Rec says they've received more than 100 reports of downed trees that are blocking the roads or sidewalks. If you see a fallen tree that's blocking a road, please call 311.
We want to get straight to our other big story tonight. In just the last hour, Avs pull off a dominating victory against St. Louis. It was 5-3. That means they take the lead in the playoff series 2-1. Nick's going to have all the highlights and what's next for the Avs coming up in sports, but we wanted to give you the good news right off the bat. All right, starting this week, Denver massage parlors can apply for a business license. It's all part of an effort to fight human trafficking and money laundering in the industry. Denver 7 has been reporting on the problem across the Denver metro, and just last month, 3 people were arrested accused of using massage parlors for human trafficking, pimping, and money laundering in Jefferson County. In 2020, 7 other people were indicted in Denver and Aurora on several counts of racketeering, prostitution, and tax evasion. I spoke to Denver's Department of Excise and Licenses about how this new business license could change the industry. How will this prevent human trafficking?
Well, it really just gives Denver Police Department the tool to go in and do these inspections. And there is really now a consequence for these massage parlor businesses that might be doing that. Before, there was no business license, so we couldn't revoke their license and they could continue to operate. But now there's going to be consequences for massage parlor businesses that have engaged in human trafficking.
So this new application process involves background checks for the owners applying. Businesses can be denied altogether if they've had a felony conviction within 5 years, and all massage parlors in Denver must be licensed by July 1st. New tonight, several former employees of the now closed Dirty Pit Craft House in Littleton have reached out to contact Denver 7.
And they tell us it's been quite the struggle for them. They say they're owed thousands of dollars in unpaid wages and are now filing complaints with the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment. Now, 2 of those employees laid out the whole situation for Denver 7's Rob Harris.
Miranda Myers and Joshua Sandoval joined the team at Dirty Pit Craft House early this year because they wanted to get in with a new business in an industry they both love.
I just love being around people, making people feel good, making people have, fun, enjoying a good meal.
I want customers to come in and leave happier than when they came in.
Now, just a few months after the grand opening, a closed sign hangs in the door, and Myers and Sandoval have some very different words to describe their experience.
Anger,
betrayed, angry,
frustration,
worried how I'm going to pay my bills.
These are just 2 of several former employees the Denver 7 has heard from, saying they're owed thousands of dollars in unpaid wages.
And I'm owed $3,667, not including overtime hours.
There's a lot of vendors, there's a lot of bands, there's a lot of people that haven't been paid. So it's like they're just taking in all of this income and not even making an attempt to pay anyone.
Employees tell us pay was haphazard and for much less than they had earned. A formal payment process was never established. Sometimes they'd receive personal checks, sometimes payments through Venmo. But initially their concerns were explained away.
I was always brought into the inner circle, told everything that was going on. Hey, we got to hold back on checks for a little bit. We just need your help to see our vision. It just turned out to not be the truth.
It's just all lies.
Myers and Sandoval estimate that as many as 50 employees and contract workers are owed money. At least 3 former workers have filed complaints with the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment, and some are now talking with lawyers about potential legal action too.
I don't want this to happen to anybody else. I don't think this, should happen to any other company, any other person.
Workers say communication with management has dropped off completely, and Dirty Pit Craft House is now listed as permanently closed online.
I thought things were going to, slowly get better. They never did.
Katie Kinney, one of the owners of Dirty Pit Craft House, did call our newsroom, saying she wanted to share her side of the story. She told us she couldn't do an in-person interview this weekend, but she would send us a written statement. As of now, we still have not received anything from her. In the newsroom, Rob Harris, Denver 7.
Thank you. Now, if there's anything you'd like Contact Denver 7 to look into, please just call us. Call the number on your screen or email contact7@thedenverchannel.com.
And as the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a family, and Denver showed up to make that true. To help local families, Mile High United Way held a baby supply drive where people could drop off essential baby supplies such as diapers, clothing, car seats, bath supplies. All these donations will be given to more than 100 families in Bridging the Gap and the Hippie programs.
All right, guys, coming up, I know the Avs, 2 games ago, they had a disappointing performance, but tonight,
Not so
Jacqueline,
much.
not
Great
so
one
much.
tonight. We'll have all the highlights coming up.
Stay tuned.